No, ma'am.
When you were arrested during the times that you said you went to jail, were you read rights that entailed you have the right to remain silent?
I don't remember.
Hi, honey. How you doing?
Do you recall talking to Detective David Quinn about the location shown in State's Exhibit 156 Charlie on
I
May 13th?
recall
I don't
nothing.
recall any conversations that
I
I've
went to
had
the
with Detective
YSL.
Quinn.
Do you recall whether that location that
I
I
don't
showed you in State's
recall.
Exhibit 156 Charlie was an after hours spot that either you or your wife visited back in 2013?
How you doing?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall or did you know that your wife went to that location?
Basis. I stand the objection.
Are you aware if your wife went to that location in 2013?
I'm just on here to try to just chat with you guys and stuff before I go in for my
Do
big
you know or have you and your wife
operation. So
ever visited 20
I just
20
wanted to come in and
2233
speak.
Macon Drive in Atlanta?
I can't recall, ma'am.
Have you and or your wife ever visited the location depicted in State's 156 Charlie?
I can't recall. No, ma'am.
He said he can't recall
Do
not.
you know whether the house depicted in 156 Charlie is in Zone 3 in Atlanta?
But anywho, let me pause this and go on and say what I have to say.
I don't know what side. I ain't real good with the sides because they switch up.
Well, anywho, I just wanted to just come in and speak to the subscribers, to the supporters and fans, and my mods. And I just wanted to tell you guys that I really appreciate you all. I appreciate the supporters for one. And I had like a great time with you guys. Y'all made me laugh. Y'all made me cry. Um, but I enjoyed everybody. We had great times. So it was great times that I enjoyed with you all. And if I don't come back, and I'm not the powers in the tongue, but if I don't come back, I stand up to be counted. Thank you. Um, I want you guys to continue. Thank you. Um, I'm sorry, y'all, because the surgeon called me last Friday and told me just clear liquids. So I haven't had anything with like clear liquids since last Friday. But I want y'all to continue to fight for what y'all believe in. Um, trust in God, and never let anyone. I know. I'm just saying. I just want to. I don't know how I will be feeling. You know, will my mind be up to coming back? So I just want to just speak to everybody. You know, just speak to everyone and things like that. All things work for the good. Yes, it does. Um, and believe me, I believe in Christ. So this is not a farewell speech or anything like that. But I just want y'all to know that y'all are appreciated. It's no. This it's cleaned up. Don't think that. Well, hi, Mr. J. But I just, what I'm saying to you guys, um, while I'm out healing, just remember who you are. Don't change your character for someone else. If you change your character and you need to change it for the good, do that. Fight for what you believe in. Always do your research, and never let anyone bully you into what they believe in, and if you believe in something else. I always stand firm on my beliefs, um, what I believe in, and I'm going to continue to do that. But I want to tell you guys that, I thank you guys, especially one that, always, checking on me and, making sure I'm okay, and just, keeping me updated, making me laugh. I really appreciate you guys, because at the end of the day, we have to stand for something, and we have to continue that. And if you just pay attention, like, we have more technology, more resources now to do things that our ancestors couldn't do. Like I said, I just like even the law, big things with the law. Thank you, appreciate it. I looked at a blogger when he posted about a parent, and his parent was like I said, y'all look over me, because I haven't eaten since last Thursday. I can't eat anything, but it was a lady, and she does wax. I know, whatever thing God has for me. I always tell God, whatever you have, whatever duty you have for me, do that. You can't teach stupid. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna always remember that, Mr. J. Oh, it was a lady. She waxed, right? She waxed. She does wax, and she put on her Instagram of her 5-year-old daughter waxing, and the lady was proud of that. How you doing, Lady G? She put, she was like, um, doing this wax job, and she was allowing her daughter to do wax job. I'm gonna say who the blogger is the boast, because I was up, and then I was looking. I looked at the title, and when I looked on there, I seen it wasn't no BS. So I looked at it, and I'm like, yeah, if he keep up, stuff like that, I like to look at things like that. He was talking about, parents' accountability, and the lady posted her daughter giving bikini wax to grown women, 5-year-old, and stating that her daughter made $750, and it's an outrage about it. And so I sat back and I started thinking, because like when I look at stuff, and I was looking at how people was bashing this lady and talking, and we were talking about parents' accountability. And I want to ask all the parents, when y'all first experienced parenthood, did they give y'all a manual? Did they teach y'all before y'all had y'all baby, the do's and the don'ts? If you come back in due time, you will be back in Jesus' name. Thank you. She was teaching the family trade. Yeah, and she felt like this lady, she felt like she was she was proud. She was like, this is my work, and I'm passing this down to my daughter. I'm teaching her how to work. And I'm like, wow. So I'm just looking at everybody's opinions and stuff, and I'm like, we as parents, there's no manual, okay? And when we grew up getting our ass beat down. And some people, my dad, he didn't never put his hands on us, right? But he taught to us. He was teaching us things. He took us around the world, and it's a difference. So I was looking at the difference between, how you doing, Sir Miguel? uh yeah, you, but observing from your parents, stand up. So just think about it. Just think about, everybody parenting skills are different, right? So people, like this lady, she felt like, she was proud. And I had to sit back. Last time I checked, the cockle be covered, right? And see, that's what I'm saying. It's like, with me, I don't even want to look at my own twat. I'm not going to, and especially if I walk in as an adult and this woman felt comfortable because her customers felt comfortable. So I would have been like, as a customer, like, wait a minute, honey, where is your mama? Cause baby, and I would have cursed her ass out. I'd be like, let me tell you something. I go to pelvic floor therapy, you guys, and pelvic floor therapy. I learned that people go to pelvic floor therapy to tighten their poo nanny. I'm actually going to loosen my poo nanny. And I learned a lot of stuff, going to pelvic floor therapy, because the vagina muscle is connected to so many different muscles of the body. And so it caused, pain in different areas. And I'm like, when I went up in there, so of course they have to go in and, they have to go in and touch and feel. And I just didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable with the 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 6 o'clock or whatever. I didn't feel comfortable. And then the lady gives me this little stick to come and do that at home. And I didn't feel comfortable. So as a lady, if I would have went up in there, like, which I doubt I go anywhere to go get somebody to be tearing hair off my cootie cock, I would have been like, wait a damn minute. Wait a minute. Honey, you must be out of your mind to have your daughter that's not licensed, that's dealing with this hot ass shit, to be coming in here looking at all these different women cootie cock holes, because I would have just threw up. Like, I can't look at nobody's poo nannies and stuff like that, and the ladies that was there, why they didn't hold this lady accountable? Why they didn't say, no, is it fascinating for y'all to sit up here? Oh, I'm so proud of this young lady. She in here doing the job. Not to look at your pee hole. My glam babies, I'm like, cover up your cha-chas and cover up your M&Ms. I mean, they ain't even got no breasts. I said, baby, y'all don't want, cover it up. Don't you come down here, because I have one of my glam babies, Olivia. This poor child, she's a tomboy like I was. I didn't understand why I had to wear a shirt and the boys can go outside with their shirts off. And I was out there with the boys, had my shirt off, and I got in trouble, playing and running, and this baby, all she knows is her mom is I'm trying to teach you the business. She know this is her mom's business. Oh, but y'all ain't called the CPS on the Wayne and Gabrielle for cutting the boy. Oh my God. You just so stupid. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. What is parenting? You have to ask yourself that. It didn't come with a manual. we don't have a manual with parenting. Um, we know now, like people come, oh, this is wrong and this is wrong, and we got a law on this and we got a law on that. And I look back at the, our system. Should we have parenting classes for people that's pregnant or getting ready to have babies? Shouldn't we have like some kind of parenting skills, especially for kids, kids with special needs? Because I'm gonna tell you, I was raised different, but differently. Two different parents, two different parenting skills. My mama will beat the shit out you and choke your neck, shoot at you, and she ain't playing no games with you. My dad will love us, reward us, talk to us, instilling us about our homework and things like that. And he was brought up in the old days, but he said he got spanking. I think he said he got one spanking, and he never got in trouble again to get spanking. And so my grandfather, he grew up being beat, and being beat. Allow kids to do what they want, not on my watch. I know that's right. Yeah, and we here to protect and teach them. But at the same time, do we teach them what we know and give them our skills, or to do better? And we look back at things, and I tell you, you grow up as you grow up as a parent, like as you grow. It's like growth. You get better and better as being a parent, and then when you become a grandparent, you get even better. Thank you so much, Johnny. um and so I remember like being a single parent. um I left my husband, and I was raising 4 kids. I was working 3 jobs because I wanted to make sure we were okay. Yes, it's Tuesdays. They haven't taken the road is let their children to be themselves. He still taking. So we sometimes we try to mold our kids into being like us, or you seeing some our coworker, or you see somebody on TV and you want your child to be like them, and different things. And I know I'm jumping off subject, so I'm trying to read you guys the chat, and I'm trying to remember what I'm saying because I have not eaten since last Thursday. But I remember like being this single mother working 3 jobs, and I'm gonna tell you, the girls of mine, I'm not gonna lie, and that's why I speak the way I speak. Oh my God, I had hell with them girls. Oh my God. And I used to come home, pop up. I used to do a pop up, like I do here. I just pop up on the channel. So I did a pop up, so I can go and check on my girls. My kids were teenagers at the time. My son, he wasn't a teenager, but he used to be pissed off. And when I come home, the girls, I find the girls doing stuff they don't have any business doing, and I'm catching, grown men in my house, and I'm getting pool sticks and beating their ass out the house. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm trying to work. That's okay. You fine, man supporter. Um, and I'm like, I gotta do something here. Because I was looking at it, I'm like, I'm working hard to make sure they have what they need and what they want. But am I actually being a parent? And so one day why would I raise my kids to think they're bad acts? No, that ain't how. Lord, yeah. Um, So I had to think about it. I'm like, you gotta let a job go or something, because you gotta be a mother too. Cause these girls is loose as a cannon. So I let one job go, and my baby girl, well, my oldest girl, she was sneaky as sneaky. She was quiet and sneaky. But that little one, she did it and didn't care. And I remember coming in and I'm tired. You know, whenever I get off my first job, I go straight to their schools, try to, check and sit with the teachers and see what kind of homework my kids, had for that day or what they had for the week and how they was doing in school. Because I always dropped them off and I made sure that they was dropped off at the inside of that gate, because the police wasn't going to let them outside of that gate. And so one day, I think I can't recall what I was talking to my baby girl about and what I asked my girls to do. But I remember being so frustrated when I came home. I pushed her so hard and she hit her head on the pool table. That scared the hell out of me, right? And I was like, I'll never put my hands on these kids again. Because, sometimes when you act out of anger, I wasn't pushing her to hurt her, but I was pushing her out of frustration. And my daughter could have bust her head wide open. And so that scared the shit out of me. So I was like, I'm not gonna put my hands on my kids anymore. But I was just frustrated. I was so frustrated with my kids. I'm like, damn, y'all not working with me, and I'm trying to plead with them like, y'all have to work with me. We have to make it. We have to. I have to work, you guys. If y'all want, y'all gonna, these concerts we going to, all this stuff, these trips, y'all having nice clothes and things. I have to pay bills, have to keep food in the refrigerator. Y'all, please, just playing with my kids. I was like, I can't wait till these elves grow up and get the hell out of my house. And sometimes I be looking like life learning lessons were a hell of a lot better. Life learning lessons. So they had, I let them deal with them life learning lessons. I tried to talk to them. And back then our grandparents and our great grandparents and stuff tried to make it look like they was this innocent, and they didn't do this and they didn't do that. And I was watching I think that DNA thing, that court thing for the DNA. And I have watched a lot of women back in the old days and their kids, like, I wanted to know who my father, and somebody told me that wasn't my dad. And a lot of these women went to the grave with it, and a lot of these women had 4 men, and they get DNA tests for their daughters as 35 and 40, and and trying to portray themselves to be, innocent. But I was like saying to myself, maybe if you talk to your kids and tell them like what you went through, and instilling in them, this is not good, they would, they'll think about it and they won't go out and do it. But if they go out and do it, it's on them because you tried to teach them. But I'm like, we wasn't, it wasn't nothing, we wasn't skilled as parents. It's just like, just here you go. You have that baby. They throw that baby to you. Do the best you can, and then you have the women around you. They giving you different, teaching lessons on how to raise a baby, how to feed a baby, how to change a baby, and things like that. Nowadays, there's a lot going on in the world. We can talk to our children until we're blue in the face of the world changing it. Hard raising our children now. Yeah. But like I was saying, what's the Nobody knocked on my door, was like, hey, listen, these are the do's and don'ts with kids. Weirdo sexualizing children, y'all. Signals, I don't play about my. I know that's right. I know that's right. And I always talk to even my like I told y'all my glam son, my G baby, and my glam babies, and I always tell them to cherish your bodies, and that's sacred, and and stuff like that. And I feel like if that woman would have been telling her daughter that that's sacred, um, with her daughter, it would have been like, mommy, that's sacred. I don't want to look at nobody's vagina. And the women, they should have been the same. Because maybe if they would have told that lady, shame on you for letting this child do that, instead of cocking their legs open, I feel like she wouldn't have been proud to post that mess up on Instagram. Now she's arrested. She's definitely gonna lose her license. She's gonna CPS gonna get involved. She's gonna have to go through counseling, parenting classes, and different things like that. So I'll ask y'all a question. Should it be a manual on having kids? Oh, sorry, y'all. Let me reply. I'm not sure how you doing. Blessed day to you. I'm not sure what time is gonna happen, but I have to stand by because that it's a surgery in a triage hospital. So I'm looking for a call sometime today on the time that I have to go in for it. They did say I will be in the hospital for a while. But I'll let you know as soon as I get the call. I've been taking my phone around, so I'll let you know. Thank you for checking on me. Okay. Yes. Talking to my coworkers right now about respecting your body and how to dress like a lady and care as such. Y'all remember, like in the Bible, it says train a child as they should go. But the Bible didn't finish though. It didn't. I don't think it did. I don't know. But like, finish telling us how we supposed to train these child. All these parent classes is BS. Parenting classes BS. But I'm just saying. I don't. I'm confused because I see a lot of stuff on TV, and I'm looking at these parents, and I'm like, what the hell going on? Is these parents, is something wrong? Is this how they was raised up? And did they taking them teaching from their parents and their parents and their parents and their parents? And it's it's a hard thing because I'm telling you, I have to sit there and analyze and think and be like, I have to look back at myself. And sometimes I did blame myself from what I went through. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna do this because I'm afraid this can happen to my child. Because this happened to us, and I don't want it to happen to my kids. And I let my kids suffer because hell, I was like, I'm not gonna allow this to happen. I'm not gonna allow that to happen. And so I felt like I put my kids through a lot because of what I went through, you know? Because I didn't want people to spend a night at my house. I didn't want my kids to go spend a night anywhere. I should encourage someone had to be mature and stop the cycle. Yeah, you have to. You don't know what you will do until the situation pop up. Some kids you gotta be tough on, otherwise are easy going. It all depends on the parents and what they allow. You're right, and so that's why I'm saying there are different ways you have to teach your kids. And like I told you guys, my G baby, he has autism, and he went with some friends, and he was on the scooter, and I always try to keep his phone on. But I told his mom, I said, well, you got to keep his phone on because like I'm gonna be down for a while and I can't keep his phone up, so you're gonna have to do it. But she didn't do it. So my grandson, he had his phone, and he was on a scooter with some kids, and I'm pretty sure I can see his little tail on that scooter riding around and just looking and laughing with his friends and following his friends. And he look up, and I be damn, he looking around like I am not familiar with this area, and he didn't know where the hell he was. So I'm on the phone, with the my glam baby, and my daughter said, I'm gonna whoop Nolan, I'm gonna whoop him, I'm gonna whoop him. The police just brought him home, and so I'm like, oh my God, for what happened? Like he called the police. So I'm like, what's going on? He on them scooters with his friends, and he gonna call the police talking about he was this place and that place. I was like, okay, first of all, why would you spank him? I said, just sit back and think about it. He didn't call me, and he said, Gigi, I only can call 911 because my phone didn't work and I didn't know where I was. You didn't have no business following them. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you remember you didn't get his phone, you didn't keep his phone up. How you doing, Lily? And I said, you didn't. I said, if you would have actually had his phone on, he could have called you. He could have said, Mommy, I was with my friends and I'm in an area I'm not familiar with. I said, at least he has sense enough to call somebody that, like, I'm supposed to trust the police. So I'm going to call the police. I know the police will bring me home. And I was laughing. We call him Nolan. I was like, Nolan. I said, you was like, I didn't know where the hell I was, and I'm scared, and I don't know my surroundings, and I'm finna go. I said, he has sense enough to do that. I said, so do not spank him for that. Do not get mad with him for that. You know, advise, but if they choose to do wrong, they have to take they have to deal with the consequences. That's why I always tell my kids, life learning lessons. Do we cover our kids up from the world, or we let them see and we tell them like, y'all, and just sit down and talk to them about the world? And because when they get out there in the world, they're gonna be out there and they won't know any better. So I was looking at that, and I was like, that was a great content that he did. So kudos to D Bosky, I'd rather see stuff like that than some BS. But anyway, I'm gonna get off here. But I just want to tell you guys, I am my surgeon. I had 3 of my surgeons call me last week. The head surgeon called me um, Thursday, and he told me that Thursday to do clear liquids and clear liquids only, no red, no purple, no green. I'm like, damn. Lollipop. And he said I can have popsicles and jello, and I went looking for jello, didn't see. I'm like, well, hell, seems like these are the popular colors, green, purple, and red. So what I'm gonna do, y'all? I'm about to go crazy, but I'm making it. And he says that because this is a dangerous surgery, I want to put that in your head. This is a dangerous surgery. Please do not eat anything. So I've been trying to avoid the kitchen and everything, you guys. But I'm going in. whenever they call me and tell me what time I have to go in the morning, my baby boy and of course, my dad. I love my pop, but I don't want my dad driving down here. But he's gonna drive down here. He's gonna be with me, and I just want to tell you guys, y'all keep doing what y'all do. Um, and I'll come back soon. And I just want to tell you guys, I love you. The ones, especially the ones that's been by my side, and things like that. And I'll thank you guys for the prayers and things like that. I'm about to go back into this YSL chat. It laughed my tail off because hell, Bean is in there saying I don't recall a damn thing. Y'all, Bean said I don't recall. You know, thank you, thank you, thank you. But being on here, y'all saying I don't recall nothing. I didn't want to be in here. He said he don't recall. Look, oh, please.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I'm not real good with the zones because they switch up.
He said I don't recall.
Do you know the area of Atlanta that would have been zone 3 in 2013?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I'm not real good with the zones because they switch up.
Look, he came in there with a mask on
Do you
too. He
know
said
the area
I
of
don't have.
Atlanta
I
that
have
would
a
have been zone
cold.
3 in 2013?
Not the full area of zone 3.
Back in 2013, specifically on or about September 16, 2013, did you have a dope record?
I don't remember, man.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn on
He's a
September
rapper.
16,
That's all I
2013,
know.
that you have a dope record, but that you were through with drugs?
Basis. I'll sustain the objection.
He said I told
Do you
you I don't
recall
remember.
talking to Detective David Quinn about your struggle with drugs?
I don't remember.
I'll rule the objection.
You may answer for the jury.
I don't remember any conversations that I've had with a Detective Quinn.
And he keeps saying I keep telling you I don't remember.
Do you remember Detective
Mr. Day,
Quinn telling
he was
you
tripping
that
like
anytime he deals
he
with
was tripping like
someone,
a bird with the police.
I sustain the objection.
Your Honor, I'm establishing
But
fact.
now he in silent mode with the on the
I still
stand.
sustain the objection.
I got
I'm
she gonna
granting.
bust out with recordings and everything.
I sustain the objection.
He said I don't
Should have
remember.
rephrased
Damn
it
it.
though.
Hell to the no.
Have you at every time?
Do you
Have you at
remember
any
flipping
time
the car over to the wall?
ever
I don't recall. I lost a whole lot of memory, man.
been told by Detective Quinn
Who is
or been
this
taken out
queen?
of a facility
I
by
don't
Detective
remember. I don't
David Quinn?
recall.
No, ma'am, I don't remember.
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling Detective
No.
David Quinn on September 16, 2013, that you had gone as far as the 11th grade in school?
No, ma'am.
By that time, by September 11th of 2013, had you gotten to the 11th grade?
I don't remember. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Didn't he say ninth grade?
Now, at this time today, can you read and write?
Yes, ma'am.
And on September 16,
He was doing
2013, did
hell
you read and write?
drugs. I feel him. I would have said I
I
was
don't
on
remember,
drugs.
man. I
I
can't
was on
read
drugs
and write
bad,
though.
man. Oh, he
Say
said
that for me again.
I can read and write.
he said I
Has
went to jail
Detective
for that
David
and I
Quinn
forgot
ever told you,
everything. I'm trying to start over. I
said
don't
to
know.
you
I
the
ain't no
words, you have the right to
YSL member.
remain
I
silent?
don't know nothing about this.
I sustain the objection.
It would be offered and asked, Your Honor, for its
Well, it's been
effect
asked
on the
and
listener.
it's been asked and answered already.
You too.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Have you ever been told by Detective David Quinn that you have the right to consult with an attorney?
I'm gonna rule that one.
No, ma'am.
Well,
Have you
hell,
ever been told by
he
Detective
trying to
David
get them
Quinn
people
that
locked
you
up
have
for
the right
RICO
to have
case.
an attorney present with you during any question?
No,
Thank you,
ma'am.
sweetie. Thank you.
Are you saying to
Renee.
the jury you don't recall or that that never happened?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you recall whether Detective David Quinn
He
would
I lost
approach
all my
on
memory.
or about September 16, 2013, that if you could not afford an attorney, one would be
She keeps
provided
asking
to
the
you
same
at
thing
no
over and
cost.
over, and it's like
I
he
don't
was
remember
getting
any
agitated.
conversations that I have had with a Detective Quinn.
Let me see if it's back on.
Do you recall
They be having them long ass lunch breaks.
telling Detective Quinn about being in the back of a police car on September the 11th, 2013?
No,
But
ma'am.
anyway, since I got women in here, let me
Recall
put this
whether
on pause.
Detective
Even you,
Quinn ever
Mr. J.
said to you that I don't have any charges on you?
He said he don't remember a damn thing, love. Leave him alone. Love, leave him alone. He said he don't remember nothing. Mr. J, y'all. Okay. After my surgery, it was 10 years ago. It was a lot of weed and alcohol involved, and I did syrup and everything. I don't remember a damn thing. Just leave me alone. He said, I keep telling. He said, can I say something? I don't remember none of this stuff. Cause he chirped like a bird. He don't want to look like no snitch, Mr. J, on national TV. They picked his ass up. They suspended him and picked him up from work. She said, did you want to be here? He said, no, ma'am. Nope. And that's why she asked him that, because she already know he said he was gonna say, I don't recall. But if they come, Mr. J, I see him saying this. If they bust out with some paperwork or recording, he gonna be like, that don't sound like me. I don't recall saying nothing like that. Somebody must have used some AI somewhere, because that wasn't me. I don't remember writing that. That don't look like my handwriting. But anywho, I have to be on a clear liquid diet for 5 more weeks. Can somebody give me some recipes? I can't have any, not even solid liquids. So can y'all please, y'all can just, I need y'all to like text me, inbox me, and give me a clear liquid recipe. Cause I have to eat, y'all. I need some food so bad. And I'm not watching TV because I'm looking at all this stuff. Okay. That's the number to text me the recipe. They pulling a random guy from the community. I don't know them. If I do, I don't recall. I know this point. Miss J, I can't wait. I was all up in that chat. I was all up in the chat just laughing. And I'm like, this is what I'm gonna be doing, while I'm in the when I get home and to recover, I'm gonna be all up in this watching the trial. Because I find watching these is very interesting. I'm watching other trials as well. But this one here, I'm like, who else gonna be on the stand? I forgot who they said. Is it Mello or Mills or somebody supposed to be on the stand? I'll text you. Yeah, please. Um, I tried that what is it? Onion soup. Oh my god, I was so sick. I do have a weak stomach, so and only thing I've been doing is drinking Gatorade, water, and when I'm feeling weak, I do drink a can of Red Bull. I drink a little Sprite. I went and got some pre-surgery boost. I think that's what it is. And I tried to taste it. It's just I cannot drink it, and because I can't even. They told me I can't even sip out of a straw, and that's the only way I can be able to get that protein shake down. I never had a witness that didn't remember, but not the shoes is on the other. Now the shoes on the feet. But yeah, she pissed off. But listen to me, Mr. J. Now, do you think the jurors gonna look at it like this dude is gonna look at it like this dude is covering up? He was in that car. He was the one arrested. I mean, so it's gonna be hard. The vanilla boost is the best. It has to be clear. I have to be able to see through it. So I did go and look at all that stuff. It has to be clear. I have to be able to hold it up and see through it. So I need something. Somebody told me get bone broth. So that's what I've been I intake some this morning. So it's, and I lost like since Friday and yesterday when I went to pre-op to talk to the anesthesiologists and the nurses and stuff, and they did an EKG and everything. I lost 6 pounds. I told that doctor I better be fine as wine in April. I better be fine as wine, okay? For no food. Get some baby food. They come in liquid. Oh Lord, Miss J, baby. I didn't see any. Matter of fact, I went through there. Let me see. I didn't see any clear. Cause what I've been doing, like the chicken noodle soup, I will drink the juice out of the chicken noodle soup. I do that, and that chicken bone broth, they said it had a lot of protein and stuff in it. So I went and got some yesterday, but I had to put like butter and stuff in and season and just in order to intake it. But that protein shake, the pre-op pre-surgery protein shake, and it's strawberry. I almost threw up. And I was like, I don't have no food in my stomach. I can't afford to bring nothing up right now. Because I need a little energy when I get on that table tomorrow. So, just find me some recipes. I need y'all to find me some recipes, y'all. And I have a juicer in there. So I was like, once I start, like I think he said in the 4th week, I can have solid liquid. So I have my juicer. I never used it before. So I'm gonna have to learn how to use that juicer so I can be able to try to juice up some stuff. And it's gonna be a long time before I can even eat like my steaks and stuff like that. I'm gonna be so sad. I'm gonna ask him, can I at least have some crawfish? Can I have some crawfish at least? But yeah, back to this man here. Do you feel like he's gonna go in and they have more witnesses, y'all, because the other person that was in the car and was shot. Yeah, your juice will work. Like that'll be the 3rd week. So it'll be the 3rd week when I'll be able to use my juicer. But do you think, I feel like the guy that was shot, that was in that car too, I feel like he's gonna come and verify everything. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. I mean, this is like good stuff. It's entertaining, but at the same time, it's sad because you have people that has done their crime sitting there. I think it's one guy in there. He has a life sentence. I think he murdered someone. I'm pretty sure they're gonna bring that up. But to punish somebody for somebody else's wrongdoing, and putting all that on one person, I don't think that's right. But this dude said he don't know a damn thing, and I think he cut all his hair off. He put that mask on because he don't want to look like a snitch. And did you see the reaction of Young Thug? How he looked at him. He cut his eyes at him as he walked out, but he tried to like. Yeah, he said at first he said he remember getting hit by a car. Then he said he didn't, and they was like, "How you said you don't remember?" Like, well, I've been in all kinds of accidents. All I remember, like, I've been in an accident. I told you I got these problems and stuff going on. I would play crazy too. Okay, but what else do Miss Love have? He's like, I done did my time. I done paid for my crime. I don't remember anything. I'm just trying to start a whole new life. Leave me alone. I'm a show y'all asses something. Y'all gonna get enough of subpoenaing people. And see all them people, even Lily, all y'all. Y'all shouldn't have been running from the prosecutors. All y'all should have been doing is what this man. I don't recall. I don't recall. Let's see. He was getting angry.
But I'm investigating a case.
Basis or hearsay?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's your response, madam?
Effect on the listener.
I will rule the objection.
No, ma'am.
Is your no meaning to suggest or testify that it never happened or that you don't remember?
I don't remember any conversation that I have had with a Detective Quinn, ma'am.
Nothing.
Do you recall Detective Quinn telling you that he was investigating a case where?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective David Quinn back in 2013 telling you about meeting your wife?
No, ma'am.
He said he don't remember a damn thing.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn that you have 2 sons and a daughter?
No, ma'am. I don't remember.
Did you have 3 children on September 11, 2013?
Yes, ma'am.
Were they around the ages of 17, 12, and 10 on September 11th of 2013?
I don't remember how old they really was around 213. This is 13. Let's see. I have to add it up.
Tell him to give you a calculator.
No,
Go ahead.
I don't remember.
Did you live over on the west side of Atlanta in September of 2013?
I don't remember.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn that you lived on the west side of Atlanta?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn in September 2013 that at that time you lived off of Cleveland Avenue in Atlanta?
I don't remember any conversation that I have had with a Detective Quinn.
He tried to tell
Do you
you.
recall telling any police detective in September 2013?
Or any other officer, ma'am.
Now, do you know, or did you know in 2013, Keith Meadows?
You said who?
Keith Meadows.
What he's got to do with anything?
That what had me rolling.
Sir, I have to ask you the questions and I have to exact from you the answers. So can you please tell the jury?
2013, no, ma'am.
No, I'm asking you, do you know a Keith Meadows?
Yes, ma'am. I know Keith Meadows.
And in 2013, what kind of work did Keith Meadows do?
I don't remember.
Was he a major Keith Meadows back then?
I don't remember.
She trying to get him. She trying to fish something to show that he can remember some shit. You better not
Do you
remember
recall
all the way
telling
down.
Detective David Quinn about the unfortunate occasion
Still gonna
of
love
a cousin
this
of
one.
yours having been killed?
No, ma'am.
Look how he looking at her like, leave me
Do
the
you
hell
recall
alone.
telling
Nah.
Detective David Quinn in that conversation about your cousin that Keith Meadows at that time was a chief now?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall talking with Detective David Quinn or anyone from the Atlanta Police Department about going to get some codeine lean to drink on September 11, 2013?
No, ma'am.
He ready for that
Do you
answer.
recall talking to someone from the Atlanta Police Department in September 2013 about how
Nope.
you went up the
Nope,
street
no.
on September 11th to holler at a dude?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling a police detective, in particular David Quinn,
He proved that he
in
snitched.
September 2013 that the dude hopped out the car and fired shots?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn that everything happened so quick at one time as it relates to that dude firing shots?
I don't recall having any conversations with the Detective Quinn.
Do you recall telling any police detective that information in September 2013?
No, ma'am.
He like you know what
Do
he's
you
saying?
recall Detective David
I
Quinn
did
or
my time,
any police
and I ain't
detective
finna
in
help y'all.
September 2013 playing calls
I ain't
for
give
you
you
that you
nothing.
made to your wife while you were at Rice Street?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn speaking to you regarding your being the driver of the red car in State's Exhibit 156 Charlie?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall looking at a photograph of Young Thug while you spoke to Detective David Quinn or any other police detective in September of 2013?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall pointing out Young Thug in that photograph as the person you were referring to as Jeffrey Williams?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling any police detective that Jeffrey Williams or Young Thug, DK, and Big Fred were in a car with you at the time that a shooting occurred?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn or any other police department in September 2013 offering you drinks or water or soda or something during a time that you were interviewed by them?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall asking for an orange soda?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn or anyone else on September 2013 about a guy that you knew named Brian?
No, ma'am.
And did you recall telling Detective Quinn or anyone else at the Atlanta Police
Look,
Department
orange soda. Did you
that
hear what she
a
said?
Mexican
Raggedy
kid
car.
came with a person named Brian a couple of times during 2013 to see you?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective David Quinn or anyone else with the Atlanta Police Department asking you at Atlanta Police Headquarters to tell them about September 11, 2013 and how you ended up with the car shown in State's 156 Charlie?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall talking to Detective David Quinn or anyone else with the Atlanta Police Department about how you ended up all skinned up the way you were at that time?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn that on September 11, 2013, you pulled up at your spot?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling him your spot was on Macon Drive?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn that he probably saw a black Camry at your spot?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling him that you couldn't remember the address of the spot because you had two spots?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn or any other detective with APD that one of the spots that's across the street?
Yeah, the first 48 hours.
Macon, and that you think the other one is 2323 Macon?
I don't recall having any conversations with a Detective Quinn.
Do you recall having any knowledge that your wife?
Matter of fact, the accident was on the next the first 48 hours. The flying was it the flying Taurus or something like that?
No, ma'am.
I don't know nothing.
Do you recall telling anybody with the Atlanta Police Department?
You know what he's
that
trying
you
to
pulled
do,
in
right?
At 2233
He's trying to
Macon
show
Drive on September the 11th,
the
2013.
YSL team
Do you
that
recall
he
telling
slipped on
anyone
the
that
ass.
after you pulled in, you parked?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling anyone at APD
Somebody said
September
the stuff is
2013
deleted or
15,
something.
20, or 30 minutes after you parked, Brian pull up?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling
I don't
anyone
know.
that Brian called you and said he needed to holler at you about something?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, I don't know.
Do you recall telling anyone at APD that Brian then pulled up?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall mentioning at that point this guy, Young Thug?
No, ma'am.
Look, yeah, he said it's my story and I'm sticking to
anyone at
it.
APD that you and Brian just shot the shit for a minute?
No, ma'am.
She be cussing, boy. She don't mind cussing. Them white folks don't cuss.
Do you recall telling Detective David
He
Quinn or
said, I gotta
anyone
stay
else
professional.
that you asked Brian to come chop it up with you, and the guy, Young Thug, rolled up and said, hey man, I just seen a dude with about $33,000 on him. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
No, ma'am.
Basis.
I'm not
He's
refreshing.
trying to
I'll rule the objection,
He's
sir.
not slick. That's what I was saying.
Do you recall Detective David Quinn asking you, who are you talking about? Who's Young Thug?
But why he ain't on trial with the other people
Do
then?
you recall Detective David Quinn asking you, wait a minute, who is it that you said
You know
told
what?
you
They gonna
about?
get his ass.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn again, more than once, that's what Young Thug said?
All them sick people up in that courtroom, COVID
Do
and
you
coughing
recall
and
Detective
sniffing.
David Quinn asking you, is he the kid with the dreadlocks that you be always hanging out with at McDonald's?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn on September 16th or September 17th, 2013, that Young Thug, he's a rapper. He's a rapper.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective David Quinn asking you whether this person you were calling Young Thug was real skinny?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective David Quinn asking you whether this person you call Young Thug wore his pants like, in his words, white boys and shit?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn, yep, that's him. That's him.
No, he will hate these.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn that Young Thug was screaming
you think he was hating
with some money or whatever?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn so that you, Big Fred, and you all with Young Thug and DK go in Brian's car to see about that situation?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn or anyone about the guy with the D and the K in his face?
No, ma'am.
I don't think they could, like the jurors, they got how many more witnesses? Like 400?
The guy with the D
and that's not even including the defense. Those jurors ain't gonna remember
No,
this
ma'am.
year.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn
Questions
that
at this
after
point, she's
they
making
went and
statements.
checked on that money,
But
they
you know
found
the
out
judge
nothing
will.
was
I know
going
that
on with
judge,
that
boy. I
situation?
swear.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David
I'm
Quinn
surprised he
that
some
after you
things
all
and stuff.
determined that nothing was going on with that situation, you all, you, DK, or the person with the D and the K on his face, Big Fred and Young Thug were all going in on some lean?
No, ma'am.
Do you know what lean is?
No, ma'am.
You don't know what lean is?
I don't know it.
I stand objection.
I gotta go pick
Have
up
you
mine
ever
today.
referred to anything as lean?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever taken or drank lean?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn that you all went to get some lean?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn that you got it from your buddy up there in Summerdale?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling
He don't
Detective
recall.
David Quinn or anyone else
Mm-mm.
that Big Fred had just gotten home from prison?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling him that you had $50, but that Big Fred had nothing?
Just tell it
No,
everything.
ma'am.
Do you recall saying
He was
that
chirping like
you
a
don't know nothing
bird.
about nothing, you just coming home from the chain gang to Detective Quinn?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that Thug and DK got in the back of the car you were in?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn that you were driving the car that is depicted in Stacey's Exhibit 156?
Right?
Charlie?
No, ma'am. I don't recall any conversation that I've had with a detective Queen.
He
Do you
keep
recall
telling
telling
me.
Detective Quinn or anyone else, any detective?
No, ma'am. Any detectives.
Okay, I gotta finish the question, okay? Just so that the record
Okay.
reflects.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, young.
It's okay.
That you all gave DK money to go get some lean.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn or anyone else that DK went around the corner and started firing some shots or something?
No.
Shots just go off.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn or anyone else that when he got back, you were looking at DK like, what the hell is going on?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling anyone at APD that you asked DK, what the fuck you shooting for? What are you shooting at?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling anyone at APD that DK got in the car and said, go, go, go?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall seeing a Taurus in Summerdale Apartments on September?
He remember all the other stuff, so he don't remember
No, ma'am.
Taurus.
Do you recall telling Detective David
He don't remember the
that the Taurus
corn laundry.
and that when you pulled out, you tried to go around the car?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn at first that it was a black car, but then correcting it and saying blue?
I don't recall.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you if the Taurus that you saw was like the one Detective Quinn picked you up?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn that as the Taurus pulled up, the person in the Taurus was trying to see what was going on, and you were trying to see what was going on?
No, ma'am.
You
Do you
ain't getting
recall
it out of
telling
him,
Detective
baby.
David Quinn that you had backed the car depicted in States 156 Charlie into a parking space?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall describing for Detective Quinn or anyone else how the Taurus approached as you were back in?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn that the Taurus was about 2 car lengths up from you at the time that you saw it?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that as you pulled out, cops were right there with a gun?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn or anyone else that as you go around, you see the cop car hit you?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Quinn or anyone else that the car bumped the tail of the car you were in?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn that as you went out, the cops shot?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that after the cop fired a shot, you went around, boom, and hit the gate?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn or anyone else that you went straight across, jumped on the wall, boom, hit the other wall, boom, run into the laundromat?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you if you saw a police car down there at the bottom of the wall at the laundromat?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you didn't see a police car?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you whether you were driving the car that almost landed on the police car?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall saying in response to such a question, yes, sir?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn or anyone else, I lied to the detectives when they first came?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you lied to the detectives when they first came to talk to you and you told them that Big Fred was driving when actually you were the driver?
I don't recall any conversation I had with Detective Quinn.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that Big Fred was in fact the passenger, that DK was behind you, and Young Thug was behind Big Fred?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you whether Big Fred was like 6'8" and 354 pounds?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you if Big Fred was sitting in the back seat?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling him, no, he's in the front seat with me?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you questions to make sure he got who was situated where in the car correct?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn one thing earlier in the interview or in a conversation with him and then another later on?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn, yeah, I told a few bullshit lies, but I'm not going to keep on shitting with you?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn, I'm just going to keep it all the way live, man?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn, everything just happened so fast that none of this was even supposed to occur?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective David Quinn that your man had
Thank you,
just come
Felicia.
home from prison?
No, ma'am.
Is he
Do
the
you
one that was on that
recall Detective
recording?
Quinn asking you
Let me pause it right
about the
quick.
guy with the money and whether Thug came to you with what sounded to him like a lick?
No, ma'am.
Was Bean the one that was on that recording call from the prison, and he was talking about Young Thug and the other guys and stuff when they was in that car? Was that Bean or was it the other one that got shot? Cause hell, if that's Bean ass, he gonna get fried. I hope it wasn't him, cause he gonna look crazy on that. If that was him on the recording, cause remember that I don't know if the judge gonna allow it in, but he said he can't mention Young Thug name. They have to redact it, and he was saying, yeah, man, and he said I had $300 or something in there. I think it was him. I'm gonna have to go back and see. But the recording, you remember she when they were going through they had the hearing trial. about the recording from the jail. I'm like, y'all talk too much. Allegedly. Yes, allegedly. So allegedly, I'm just asking the question: is that allegedly him? All I'm saying, what I'm saying is alleged, y'all. When they played the recording that they were saying that was Bean or was that somebody else, and they was talking about the alleged carjacking, because if you think about it, what Steele did yesterday when he talked to the 911 Baxter. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, but excuse me. Steele was trying to say they didn't say their names, they didn't have no code or anything like that. It was just like people just talking on the radio, and they supposed to like this detective X, Y, and Z. Yeah, they were. Um, so it's like X, Y, all these people talking on the phone, and then you remember one of the cop was saying that it was a female with a lace wig. So with all this stuff, I believe he made that phone call in front of Detective Quinn. Okay. So I thought he no, it was a jail call. He called. I know what you were saying, Mr. J. He he called his girlfriend allegedly. Well, I'll just say a person that was in jail did a collect call to their girlfriend, and she three-wayed the other guy. And then this person was speaking and talking about what happened. And I'm like, because when they was playing, I'm like, you big damn dummy. Y'all know these calls are recorded. Are you on drugs and stupid like that? And I'm like, especially these people in the streets, they run around here and they act so street like, and you don't even know the streets. You should know when you go to jail, they gonna record y'all damn conversation, especially when you under investigation, because they want to know what you saying so they can have some evidence on your ass. I'm like, this dude, because I remember like this dude is chirping like a bird. Shut your damn mouth. Rule 101. Shut up. Your girlfriend get on the phone calling you. Oh, they said this happened. I don't recall none of that happening. I don't remember nothing. A wife or whoever he was talking to. So people be like, when they get in front of them police, they bad as hell when they out there in the street. Then when they get in trouble, and then the police be like, oh, we're gonna give you this and this many years, they start chirping like them Twitter birds. They start talking, telling everything on everybody. They try to save themselves. And then when push come to shove, 10 years, what was that? In 2013. Now we in 2024. You don't recall nothing. And they have all the evidence. So I hope that wasn't him, Mr. J. I hope there was somebody else alleged talking, but it was the drugs that was talking. Them people didn't know what they were talking about on that phone. They were just talking, trying to make themselves look good. That's it. They were just trying to make themselves look good. Themselves look good. Hold on. Let me play.
What do you understand a lick to be? if we're talking about coming to you with a lick.
I don't recall, ma'am.
Oh, he back on
Have you heard the term
scan.
lick used for robbery?
No, ma'am.
He back on there.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn the lick?
Let's catch up. Thugger.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. All right, Ms. Love, you can continue with the examination.
Thank you, John. Mr. Dean, you doing okay?
Yes, ma'am. Can y'all hear me? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. And good job. Mr. Dean, I'm gonna pick up with where we left off right before lunch, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir. Do you recall in September of 2013, telling either Detective Quinn or another police detective at the Atlanta Police Headquarters, that you did not have a gun in the car on September 11, 2013?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling either Detective Quinn or another detective that you shot no guns on September 11, 2013?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn or another detective asking you on or about September 16, 2013, who had pistols in that car?
Objection, Your Honor.
Basis. Mr. Matthews, was your hearsay?
Yes, sir.
Effect on the listener.
Overruled.
Do
No, ma'am. Oh, fine.
do you remember the question I just asked?
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
All right, you don't recall that.
No, ma'am. I don't know.
Do you recall telling a detective with the Atlanta Police Department in an interview, you got Big Fred with a gun? Do you recall saying that?
No, ma'am.
You got DK with a gun. Do you recall saying that?
No, ma'am.
And you got Thug with a gun. Do you remember telling him that?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember Detective Quinn or any other detective asking you in September 2013, Big Fred, what kind of gun did Big Fred have?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn or another detective in September 2013, as it relates to September 11th, he had, that is Big Fred, he had the 9. He had a 9mm ruler.
No, ma'am.
Do you own firearms, sir?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever owned firearms?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn or another detective on September 16, 2017, DK had a little bitty, small, little gray-looking gun?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall being asked what kind of gun did DK have?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall saying that you didn't know what kind, you just knew it was little bitty
No, ma'am.
and that it was small and gray? Do you remember saying that?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember Detective Quinn asking you whether or not the gun was an automatic or something else?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that all the guns were automatic?
No, ma'am.
Do you know the difference between a pistol and a revolver?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall, let me ask you this. Did you hang with DK Thug and Big Fred back in September of 2013?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective, I don't hang with them?
No, ma'am.
Do you know how old Big Fred is?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall, or do you know how old Young Thug is?
No, ma'am.
Did you know how old he was or around the age he was on September 11, 2013?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall saying to a detective with APD, these are younger guys than me and Big Fred?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that y'all were trying to show your big homie a good time?
Ma'am, no, ma'am.
Do you recall telling him that you told Big Fred to buy him brand new clothes and stuff?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling a detective that you don't know what these young guys, what their intentions were, but they're way beyond what you and Big Fred were on?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall saying that the younger guys go by a whole other means of getting money?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective at APD that you hustle to get your money?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective at APD how it is that the younger guys like to get their money?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall a detective asking you in an interview at the Atlanta Police Department, what kind of gun did Young Thug have, if you could remember?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling anyone that you didn't see Young Thug's gun?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall being asked, well, if you didn't see it, how'd you know he had one when he got in the car?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that you knew that he had a gun because he kept one on him?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall discussing or telling the detective how much you were supposed to pay for the lead?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that you all were going to split the pot?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that it was supposed to be $150 for the lien?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall saying that it was supposed to be you paid 50, Thug paid 50, and DK pays 50?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall saying that you all were going to go in on the lien to show Big Fred a good time?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that in September 2013, by September, you had only known DK for a few weeks?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that on September the 11th, 2013, that was only the second time that you had gotten into the car with DK?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall describing for Detective Quinn on September 16, 2017, the tattoo that DK had on his face?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn he just got a tattoo? He got a tattoo, the D and a backwards K on his forehead. Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you what that's all about, that backward K?
No, ma'am.
And do you recall telling Detective Quinn? I don't know.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you were just a family man who had just got home? You were just a family man.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you about DK and who he was friends with in the car, who he's tight with in the car?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that DK was tight with Thug, Young Thug?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that DK and Thug is there an objection, Your Honor?
I don't know. I was listening to the, yes, you may, sir. Come on.
Mr. Bean, do you recall telling the detective with the Atlanta Police Department in September of 2013 that DK and Thug are down with each other?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that DK and Thug are gangbangers and that they call themselves some type of blood?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall the detective asking you how long you've known Thug?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that you've known Thug's dad for over a couple of years?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that Thug just started coming around and hanging?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall the detective asking you how long you've known Thug to exist as a human being?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective he's a rapper since I came from nothing?
No, ma'am.
You said you know Young Thug by his music. Is that right?
I know it's music.
And have you heard nothing about I came from nothing as it relates to his music?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that they call Young Thug Little Jeff?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that his daddy's name is Jethro, that the dad is Jethro and Thug is Little Jeff?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall the detective saying, okay, I'll figure it out before we leave?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling him it's not hard to find?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall the detective asking you whether if you saw a picture of the kid DK again, would you recognize him? Do you recall the detective asking you that?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall the detective telling you that he had with him a picture of a kid named DK with a backwards K in the middle of his forehead? Do you recall the detective telling you that?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall the detective showing you a picture and asking you, is that the DK that got in the car?
Objection, Your Honor.
Basis.
Consultation clause.
Effect on the listener.
Overruled.
Do you recall the detective asking you, is that the DK that got in your car while showing you a picture of?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that that in fact was the DK that
No,
got in
ma'am.
the car?
No, ma'am.
And do you recall telling the detective that he got in the back seat?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall the detective asking you whether DK had a lot of money on him or asking about money that DK may have had on him on September 11, 2013?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that on September 11, 2013, as you were going up and down, you heard a couple of shots?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that you all went off the wall, over the wall?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall being asked by the detective, how did it happen that you all went over that wall?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that the car just went out of control and wouldn't bring itself, it wouldn't brake?
No, ma'am.
And do you recall telling the detective that after the gate hit, the car just went?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that the car went over that grass and did its own thing?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that it went straight to that wall? No steering, no acceleration, none of that. It was just gone.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that you did not mash the gas? It was just the car did its own thing.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall speaking to the detective about a probation violation that you had?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective that you didn't get a bond after you were arrested on September 11th, 2013 because of that probation violation?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember the detective asking or actually playing for you a recording of a woman who was talking about having just gotten a gun?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling the detective that that was your wife on the recording?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall the detective playing more than one recording for you?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall the detective telling you that he needed to know about whether or not the officer's shooting was justified? Do you remember telling the detective that?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn or any other detective playing you a recording about the events of September 11th, 2013, of yourself and someone else discussing that?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling the detective a second time that all that shit happened so fast?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you told DK and Thug to go ahead and go to the store, and that they went to the store and came back talking about a lick around the corner?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that they came back and said, in your words, that nigga named goddamn Red got the money?
No, ma'am.
Do you know a person named Red or who went by the name Dirty Red on September 11, 2013?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you were just like, F this, I'm just get in the car and drive. That's it. That's the only time I drove all them because I ain't go nowhere.
No, ma'am.
Do you remember talking to Detective Quinn about a person named Buck Buck?
No, ma'am.
Do you know a person named Buck Buck?
No, ma'am.
Are you familiar with a person named Buck Buck?
No, ma'am.
Are you aware of anyone who goes by the name Buck Buck?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn playing you at least 3 calls that you made to your wife while you were inside Fulton County Jail?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you about a statement you made that one of the niggas in the back shot by accident, probably?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that it was probably Big Fred that got shot by someone inside the car you were driving on September 11, 2013?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you heard like 2 shots while you were inside the car after it had lost control?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Do you recall telling Detective Quinn you did not want to go into court and testify about the things you were saying to him that night?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall at any time feeling back in 2013 that you did not want to go into court and tell anybody what you had just told Detective Quinn?
No, ma'am.
Do you know how Thug wore his hair back in September of 2013?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you whether the lien deal was on hold, but the robbery wasn't dead because DK got the money?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall asking Detective Quinn, DK took some money?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall talking to Detective Quinn about Club with Kira?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you about following Dirty Red?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn, fuck the lean bullshit I told you first, man?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn, I ain't gonna play the lingo with you? The nigga that they told about Lakira or whatever, we followed them to Summerdale.
I don't recall.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you, who told you? I wanna know who.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall responding or telling Detective Quinn, okay, listen, Thug wanted to see the list?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn, you see what I'm saying? He come get us, tell us the boy sitting up there in Kenny's shop with $10,000, $15,000 on it, and that he had just seen the money in a bag.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that Kenny hopped up and got the money already and it was gone by the time you all got there?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn there was no such thing as $10,000 or $15,000 up there, no more in the car?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you, okay, you were excited about hearing that number, what happens next?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn, okay, cool, go check it out. Let's look at it and see what's going on. Boom.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn, they ain't up there? They come back flying past Macon Drive and we see them.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn, we following them up there and we asked some of them? You recall telling that to Detective Quinn?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that y'all were following a gray car that you believe was a Pontiac or a little gray Dodge?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you all were in Summerdale when you all got ready and DK jumped out of the car?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you, why'd y'all pick Dirty Red? Of all people, why did you pick Dirty Red?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn, I don't know why Thug didn't get out. It was his lick.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that that this was Thug's man? So it ain't no who picked who.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that DK was Thug's foot soldier?
No, ma'am.
Do you you know what a foot soldier is?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that Thug tells his foot soldier what to do?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you yourself are no gangbanger?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you are no blood or anything like that?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that Thug said, go get it? Hey, you go get it to DK.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you, exactly what did Thug say?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn, he told him, go get the money. He said, go. That's what he told him. Go take the money and come back. Do you recall?
Your Honor, compensation clause.
Ma'am,
Your Honor, again, the witness is on the stand. The defendant is a person, Defendant Williams is a person who is alleged to have made this statement.
okay,
That
I
is-
got it. I'm gonna overrule your objection.
Do you recall that Detective Quinn asked you a question after you said, go take the money, after you said that Thug told DK to go take the money and come on back?
Your Honor, that would continue objection.
You certainly may, yes, sir.
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you whether Thug said that before or after you backed into the parking lot?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you backed in and then Thug told him to go get the money?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you, where's the Taurus that you were worried about?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you, is the Taurus in front of you or behind you?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn, the Taurus is in front, the police Taurus is in front of me?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you, did you know that it was the police?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn, I didn't know it was the police?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you were like, hold on, let me see, I see a Taurus?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you wanted to make sure that it was a Taurus?
No, ma'am.
So do you recall telling Detective Quinn, so the cop in the Taurus is going on in and boom, we back in?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that DK goes and gets the money and he gets out, boom, 2 minutes later, he's popping shots?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that DK didn't even have time to take any money?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you, did you see who DK was shooting at?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that DK didn't have time to take money because he was shooting?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you if you saw all the money on the ground when you were in the back of the police car?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that you didn't see any money on the ground? You didn't even know that DK had taken money?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that after the car crashed, that one guy ran this way, another ran that way, another ran that way, and that everybody go run their own separate ways?
No,
Recall telling him that?
no, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you about a statement you said to your wife, I wish I would have run with Thug because he got away?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember asking, or Detective Quinn asking you, which way did Thug go?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember telling Detective Quinn, me and Thug got out of the car, we jumped. We were freaking out. DK couldn't move against him apparently because he was shot or whatever. Thug jumped the wall, I jumped the wall, I jumped up here, Thug went behind the Dollar King. Do you recall telling that to Detective Quinn?
I don't recall.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn, I jumped over in the parking lot, and as I'm running across the parking lot, that's when the police car come and run me over or whatever?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall Detective Quinn asking you what kind of car ran you over?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that the blue Taurus ran you over?
No, ma'am.
And do you recall telling Detective Quinn that it was the same blue Taurus that you had seen in Summerdale?
No, ma'am.
Do you recall telling Detective Quinn that it was the females in the blue Taurus?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Love?
Mr. Bean, for the court's instructions, I'm gonna.
Yeah, Mr. Bean, at this point in time, we're going to stop your examination as we've come to a point in the afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, this is our natural stopping point for today. So what I'd like to do is to go ahead and recess you. Mr. Bean, I'll need you to come back in the morning for 9 o'clock, okay? And then you'll resume your testimony at that point in time, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, sir. Please don't discuss your testimony with anybody except the attorneys in this case. Have a good evening, okay?
All right.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. So tomorrow we will reconvene. As I mentioned, if y'all could be here by 9 o'clock for an anticipated 9:30 start time, we will work till probably around the noontime hour or shortly thereafter. And then I'll recess you for the evening. As just to kind of preview for next week, remember, we'll come in probably around 10:30 on Monday and we'll start at 11 and then we'll be on administrative days from the
Okay, all caught up now with the YSL for today. I'm going to get off here because I have a lot to do and get ready for my procedure tomorrow. And I want to tell you guys I love you and see you guys soon, hopefully. Be blessed.